name is Deacon Anthony Ambuul. I'm from the Diocese of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm currently in my 8th year of formation in seminary.
What is it like being in seminary?
It's like going to college, but in an intentional environment where everybody around you is both trying to become a saint and very badly wants you to become a saint as well. And so you have this great academic culture, but then there's also fantastic fraternity throughout all of it.
And when will you be ordained?
I'll be ordained at the end of this year, so 2020, well, the end of the academic year, so 2024.
What do you look forward to most about the priesthood?
I'm very excited for reconciling people to Christ. But within that answer, there's a lot, because as we learn from St. Paul, we're estranged from God on account of the fall of Adam. And so in Adam, everyone is separated, and we need that reconciliation, and that will occur in the priesthood through baptism. By baptizing other people, you get to reconcile them back to being children of God. However, that relationship can still be severed through grave sin, but that severing can be repaired through the confessional, which is only possible through a Catholic priest. And so I think that bringing that same Christ-like healing that he did to so many people in the Gospels, that's very exciting to me.
Do you have a message for anyone who might be discerning the priesthood?
Honestly, to anybody who's considering joining seminary, beginning that more intentional discernment, don't be afraid to do it. I think it's a common impression that if you enter seminary, you've committed to becoming a priest, when really entering into seminary is just committing to a more intentional discernment where you are coming into an environment where everyone around you is just trying to help you answer that question. Is God calling you to do this? What is God's will for you? Because there's not going to be any better plan out there than whatever God has already planned for you. He's the one who's equipped you with the gifts, talents that you have, and he's going to provide you everything that you need in order for it to come to fruition. So don't be afraid. It's awesome. And worst comes to worst, you end up discerning out and you leave and do something else with your life, but now with a deeper knowledge of your faith and a stronger love for God.
Do you have a favorite saint?
Do you have a favorite saint? It's kind of like saying, do you have a best friend of all these perfect people that you're surrounded by? Because the saints are awesome. There are many that I love. There are some that I know better than others, but they're all helpful in different areas of life. I would say two that are particularly special to me would be St. John Vianney, patron saint of parish priests, and who's fantastic. But I also have a devotion to St. Gemma Galgani, who is less well known, but has a beautiful story, is also a tremendous friend, I think. So those would be my favorite saints, I would say.
All right, well, we're still on the subject of favorites. Do you have a favorite book of the Bible?
Favorite book of the Bible? I think my favorite book of the Bible is probably the Gospel of Luke, and especially because of all the details it provides in the Passion narrative. But that's almost an unfair question. That's a really hard question to ask.
Do you have a favorite hobby, activity, sport, something like that?
A favorite hobby, activity, sport? I love anything active, anything where you're able to manifest any talent that might be in there. But at the same time, I find myself gravitating towards things that I'm not super good at.
Who are you most grateful for?
Definitely my parents. I would say my parents have been just fantastic spiritual leaders, but also just good, humble role models in my life that have provided so much of the foundation on which I was able to build the rest of my formation, and go into seminary confident in those people who were going to be forming me, just because I had great experiences all throughout my childhood. So yeah, my parents.
How can people watching pray for you?
There's often a lot of zeal and excitement in newly ordained priests, and I think they can often be met with difficulty or challenges of just the reality of their vocation, the difficulty of helping other parishioners and sharing their burdens with them. But any prayer that would safeguard against being distracted or any kind of despairing while I begin to share in the same ministry that Christ did.
All right, one last question. If you could tell the whole world one thing, what would that be?
God exists. He's unbelievably in love with you. He wants to be part of your life, and he wants to spend eternity with you. And if all of that I just said is true, what's preventing us from responding? Because I do believe it is true. I'm dedicating the rest of my life to defending that it is true and helping people better understand that.